ภิวาท
พิวาทมหาพิวาทะพุทธ
พุ
ว
ทธ
จนะจตุราสีติธรรมหันตะสหัสสานิวีส
วิ
ติอริยมาคะ
วิ
วีส
ส
ติสามัญญพละ
เอ
เอก
กา
นิพพานะจิ
จิ
ตตา
ปา
พิญ
ปิญ
ญา
ญาเพียรใน
โด
ประวัติ
ยเฉียบพลันในประวัติการนี้เถิด
โย
โย
โว
อา
อะ
นันทาม
นะ
ายาธัมโม
ธรรม
จาริ
โ
นโยจา
โย
เท
จิ
สีโต
ติ
ปัญ
ปาน
ญาโต
โต
โส
โส
โว
โสมา
มา
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 เจ
จะ
นะ
เย
สา
นะสัทธาโย
โย
โวอานัน
ติ
ทามายาธัมโมจาวินโยจาเทสีโตปัญ
ปะ
ญาโต
โต
โส
โส
โว
มามา
มาจาเยนะสัทธาโย
โย
โวอานันทามายาธัมโมจาวินโยจาเทสีโตปัญญาโตโสโวมาจาเยนะสัทธาพุทธวจนะจตุราสีติธรรมขันธาสหัสสานี้คือปรมัตถอนุตตรสัมมาสัมโพธิสมณะ
สัม
โคตมะยาธิกะ
นะโมตั
เม
สสะ
ตุตาภะคะวะโตอะ
อะ
ระ
ระ
สัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ
นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ
ปุตตะตังนะโมพระโตสัมพุทธัสสะ
สัมพุทธะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ Before we begin the class today, as always, I need to mention about the important note that Dhamma provided in this presentation is simple and not Kampira or profound. People must continuously Sikha Dhamma or else it will lead to Mahatapa, Niraya or hell because it is Miccha Titti, not following the Buddha's teaching. If any provided content contrasts with Dhamma 84,000 Dhamma Kantaka, please refer to Dhamma 84,000 Dhamma Kantaka only. And what day is today? Today is 13 Kalapakhatsa, Makhasira Masasa, Maha Puttha Shayanti 2613, or December 28th, Buddha's era 2567. As we mentioned at the beginning of the class, Yovo Ananta Maya Thammo Ja Vinayo Ja Tesito Panyato Sovo Mamajayena Sattha translate into English that Putthavajana 84,000 Dhammakantaka is Anuttara Samma Sampoti. That's why we need to continuously Sikha Dhamma. And we are one of the four Puttha Parisa. Therefore, we have our responsibility. The responsibility of the four Puttha Parisa consisting of the four Puttha Parisa must well understand the Tipitaka, 84,000 Dhammakantaka. And the second one is the four Puttha Parisa must be able to correctly present 84,000 Dhammakantaka. And the third one is the four Puttha Parisa must be able to correct those who condemn or misunderstand the Tipitaka, 84,000 Dhammakantaka. And these two, Dhamma Tipitaka, Dhammacharya, Theravada Phalapoti Sushana on, and then Angkakuna
อังค
Arya
คุณะอริยธรรมะโสตาปันนะ
Panna
สุ
is
ป
the
ฏิ
most
ปันโนนะ
worthy of the four Puttarisa in our personal life. So please
เทเลสเป
namaskar them. Supatipanno
สุปฏิปันโนสุปฏิปันโนสุป
สุ
ฏิปันโน
สาธุสาธุสา
สา
ธุ
ธุ
นะ
สาธุสาธุนวุติปันนิธิพันธะอนุโมทามิ
So we the last time we mentioned about this class, we also mentioned about where Anuttara Samma Sampoti is teaching to be heard. This we go through it quite many times. So at this moment, you might be able to to be able to recite that we heard Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi's teaching where Vitaka Cetasika, and those Vitaka Cetasika working with Pancha Thawara Vachana Citta and Mano Thawara Vachana Citta in order to be heard of the teaching of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhis at the beginning. So by hearing, before we hear through our ears, the voice that we hear received by the Panchathawara Vachana first, and then Panchathawara Vachana Citta sent to Sota Vijnana, and Panchathawara Citta not only control Sota Vijnana, but Panchathawara Vichana Citta also control Chakku Vijnana, Sota Vijnana, Khana Vijnana, Shivha Vijnana, Kaya Vijnana. That's why the name of Panchathawara Vichana Citta contain the words of Pancha. Pancha is 5, and Pancha 5 Thawara, that's these citta control 5 Thawara or 5 connection to citta, containing of Chakku Thawan, Sota Thawan, Khana Thawan, Shivha Thawan, and Kaya Thawan. 5 Thawara, Pancha Thawara Vachana Citta. We hear first citta that make us hear, see, smell, taste, and feel the touch, feel hot, feel cold. It first received by Pancha Thawara Vachana Citta. However, for people like for normal people who do not Sikaya, we assumed it ourselves, and even though science also say the same thing, that we hear by our ear, we see by our eyes, we smell by our nose, and we taste by our tongue, and we feel by our body. That is proven. That is science known, and everybody without Sikaya knows that. That's why we need Sikaya, because we don't know the interaction of Citta that makes us be able to receive our 5 senses through how can we see, how can we hear, how can we smell, how can we taste, and how can we feel. Science know only anatomy and the interaction of our body and environment, but science do not know where the information contains and where the information from the outside come through our body, and what next with those information we receive, what next they cause us interact with your past life, your present life, and how they create your future life. That's some picture of why Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi's teaching is very important. And you hear the teaching of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi through Vitaka Cetasika. And those Vitaka Cetasika, at the beginning of what you hear stays with Pancha Thawara Vachana Citta, and altogether with Mano Thawara Vachana Citta, and these 2 citta stays at Hataya Vatu. Pancha Thawara Vachana Citta stays at Hataya Vatu, and Mano Thawara Vachana Citta stays in Hataya Vatu. This is roughly of the answer where Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi's teaching be heard. The next one. The way to reach Kamma. This is quite a bit more complicated. We need to look back at first before we explain about this way to reach Kamma. First, we need to be able to recite Citta 121, Cetasika 52, and Rupa 28, because we will go back to the basic. We go back to Citta 121, Cetasika 52, and Rupa 28 to create Kamma. To show the way to reach Kamma, first, you need to know how Kamma is created. and Kamma is created by Citta and Cetasika. And Citta altogether we have Citta 121, Cetasika 52, and Rupa 28. Within Citta 121, not all of them create Kamma. Only 29 out of 121 create Kamma. And those 29 Citta, consisting of Akusala Citta 12, Mahakusala Citta 8, Rupa Vajra Mahakusala Citta 5, and Arupa Vajra Mahakusala Citta 5. And for those Kamma Citta, only 25 of them that create Kamma that have Rupa. And another 4 Rupa Vajra Mahakusala Citta 4. Those 4 are Kamma Citta, but those Kamma Citta, they don't create Rupa. So in this case, we mention only about Kamma that create Rupa. So we focus on 25 Kamma Citta that consisting of Akusala Citta 12, Kama Vajra Mahakusala Citta 8, Rupa Vajra Mahakusala Citta 5, only 25. And these 25 Citta, when they create Kamma, they turn themselves from Citta into Kamma Citta first. And once they turn themselves from Citta into Kamma Citta, Citta remains Citta. And however, they have another set of Kamma Citta created by Citta. And these you have 25 of Kamma Citta that contain of Akusala Kamma Citta 12, Kama Vajra Mahakusala Kamma Citta 8, Rupa Vajra Mahakusala Kamma Citta 5. You see that the name of the Citta is changed from Citta into Kamma Citta in order to create Kamma. Once they become Kamma Citta, and these they are Kamma Citta 25, they are going to create Kamma. And once they create Kamma contain Rupa 18. And these 18 can be classified into 2 groups. The first one is genuine Kamma Citta. This will stays only in Kamma Sharupa and not stays in Citta Shupa, Utu Shupa, and Ahara Shupa. Another one is artificial Kamma Rupa, Kamma Sharupa. This Rupa will appear in Citta Shrupa, Utu Shrupa, and Ahara Shrupa also. There are 9 of them in both groups. However, once Kamma Sharupa is created, in the consequence of creation of Kamma Sharupa 18, the existing Kamma Sharupa 10 occurs, and altogether Rupa 18 of Kamma Sharupa plus 10 of Kamma Sharupa, altogether they have 28 Rupa. And this is how Kamma is created in short. And then once Kamma Sharupa and Akamma Sharupa, they happen into two groups. The first group is Kamma Sharupa. They divide into 2 groups, as I mentioned before, is genuine Kamma Sharupa and artificial Kamma Sharupa, or Ekanta Kamma Sharupa and Anekanta Kamma Sharupa. And then Kamma Sharupa interact with Anekanta Kamma Sharupa, makes Citta Sharupa, Utu Sharupa, and Ahara Sharupa happen like this. The orange one, they are Kamma Sharupa. These are Kamma Sharupa, altogether 10, but there are only 6 of them, 6 of 10 that works with Rupa Samuddhathana. Rupa Samuddhathana consisting of Kamma Sharupa 18, Citta Sharupa 15, Utu Sharupa 13, and Ahara Sharupa 12. And as I mentioned that Kamashubha 18, they divided into classified it to two groups. The first one is Anekanta. This Anekanta consisting of 9 rupa. Avinipoka 8, consisting of Patwi Mahaputrupa 1, Apo Mahaputrupa 1, Tesho Mahaputrupa 1, Vayo Mahaputrupa 1, Rupa Visaya Rupa 1, Kanta Visaya Rupa 1, Rasa Visaya Rupa 1, Ahara Rupa 1. These are Avinipoka 8, which is basic building blocks of everything that we that interact with us and even ourselves in this world. And also another one is Parishetrupa 1. Altogether 9. These 9 are called Anekanta. And these Anekanta, you see, they appears not only in Kamashubha 18, they appears in Chittashubha 15, Uttashubha 13, and also Aharushubha 12. And these in Chittashubha 15, Uttashubha 13, and Aharushubha 12, not only Anekanta 9 from there, they have 9 Anekanta from Kamashubha. However, they have another set of Kamashubha that working with them. That's great. Chittashubha 15. There are 6 more of Kamashubha working with them. Those 6 are Sattha Visaya Rupa, Sattha Rupa 1, Vinyati Rupa 2, Kaya Vinyati Rupa, Vachi Vinyati Rupa, and Vika Rupa 3, Rupa Sa, Uta Rupa, Muduta Rupa, Sakamyata. These 6 are Kamashubha working with Anekanta 9 of Kamashubha. And next, Uttashubha 13 starts from Anekanta 9 from Kamashubha, and then 4 more from Akamashupa working with them create Uttashubha 13. And another 4 from Akamashupa are Sattha Rupa 1 and Vikala Rupa 3. And the last one, Ahala Rupa 12, starts from Anekanta 9 from Kamashupa. And then there are 3 more from Akamashupa working with them. And those 3 are Vikarupa 3 working with them. Altogether, Aharupa 12. And these are Rupa Samudhatana, Kamashupa 18, consisting of Kamashupa 18, Chittashubha 15, Uttashubha 13, and Aharashupa 12. I mentioned this because we are showing you that by starting from Rupa Samudhatana, consisting of Kamashubha 18, Chittashubha 15, Uttashubha 13, and Harashubha 12, they create not only your body, but also your environment within the Bhumi that you are going to born. In this case, we use the case of human. Before you born as a human, the environment or Bhumi of human or Manusya Bhumi need to be prepared before you born as a human. Otherwise, you cannot born as a human because you cannot say that there are no place for you to live. There are no food, no proper climate and not proper atmosphere for you to survive. So those environment need to be prepared before you born. And those information that assign things in the environment that happen as you see today comes from Rupa Samudhatana. And these Rupa Samudhatana send the information to create universe and then create solar system. And within solar system need to be Earth, and within Earth need to have a proper atmosphere, have water, mountain, town, cities, things like that before you born as a human. Because in the Earth you have food and proper climate and the temperature that optimum for human to be able to survive. Or even you live in hot or cold climate, you have your clothes or protecting gear that help you survive in those environments. And those gear or those clothes that help you survive in those environments are also created by rupa samudana. And also when you are born as a human, they create your body that compatible with the environment. And then when you're born, you can survive and you can stay in Manusa Bhumi like you are staying in Manusa Bhumi today. However, when you're born as Manusa in Manusa Bhumi, normally most of the human born in Manusa Bhumi, they have already forgotten why they born as a human. They've forgotten their objective of being human, because this objective will hardly be shown in your mind, because it's controlled by your miccha in the past life. It protects you from knowing the main objective. And the main objective is to finding the teaching of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi and try to reach Ariya Bukkhala, at least Sotapanna in this life. So by doing so, you need to go back through Kamma Charupa, or go back to reach Kamma, as we mentioned. But this kind of the way to reach Kamma is quite complicated. At this moment, I explain how Kamma is created and what roles that Kamma plays in Manusa Bhumi and plays in our environment and our body. So you see that by going back to reach Kamma, you need to go through those processes backward. So within yourself, it has already created, and this is Kamma from the past. And to reach Kamma, the way to create it is come from the past. One thing that I forgot to show you here, I divided into this for Rupa Samudana. I divided into two main groups. The first one is the past. Kamma Shupa stay in the past. And Chitta Shupa, Utu Shupa, Ahala Shupa also create from the past, but they stays in present to help you interact with your environment and to survive in the world. And then interesting thing is, to reach Kamma, you need to go back in the past. But to go back in the past, for normal people, we cannot go back by ourselves, because the system has already protected us from entering the past to the pathway to go to the past. Only way to reach the past, to reach Kamma, to reach Chitta in the past, that is a crucial pathway to reach Ariya Bukkhala. In that case, you need to Sikkaya, and one who leads the way to go back in the path and to reach Chitta, that helps you attain at least Sotapanna, that is the Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi. And you might imagine, you might think that Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi has already entering Nirvana. Who leads you? It will go back to the beginning of the class today. We said, Yo wo ananta maya thammo cha vinayo cha tesito panyato so wo mamachayena sattha. Or Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi is Tipitaka 84,000 Dhammakantaka. That's why we are following the Buddha's teaching, or following the Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi. And this is the only way that we go back to the past, to Kamma in the past. And the objective of go back to Kamma in the past is this is the only way to reach to reach citta that helps us enter Ariya Pukala at least Sota Patimakha. And Sota Patimakha citta stays with Atthaya Vatu. Atthaya Vatu stays with Atthaya Rupa here. Okay, so that's why we need to go in the past. And Sota Patimakha citta 5 stays with Atthaya Rupa. And that is why we need to go back. And to go back, as I mentioned, we need Sikaya. And to Sikaya, you need to follow in Buddha's teaching. And one of the tools that helps you go back to the past is Bunya Kriya Vatu. Bunya Kriya Vatu 10. Containing of Tan, Seen, Pavana, Apachayana, Vaya, Vacha, Patitan, Patanumotana, Tamasavana, Tamatesana, and Titushuka. It's a bit complicated about this topic. However, I briefed to you roughly to give you a picture why you as a human and why you need to go back to Kamma, because that is the only way for you to attain Ariya Pukala, at least to be Sotapanna. Otherwise, there's no way to go back. And in order to go back in that way, you need Anuttara Samma Sambodhi to enlighten, and you need to follow the teaching of Anuttara Samma Sambodhi. Otherwise, you cannot enter the way that leads you to the past. Okay, it's quite complicated. I know that this topic can explain a bit very in detail, a lot of detail that involved in this topic. So you might be a bit confused about this topic at this moment. However, this is roughly a picture that I need you to be able to at least to picturize that there is the way. There actually is the way to reach Ariya Pukala. That is not imagined. That actually the way, the way is quite obvious, but it's hard to imagine if you use your base knowledge as science knowledge or logical knowledge for normal people. If you stick with science and normal logical knowledge that you have as a human, it is you will be unable to imagine to see this way, the pathway to go to Ariya Pukala, because those mind, those logic, those knowledge will lock you in within I would say is Michatiti. It will lock you in the Michatiti. And once you are locked in Michatiti, you are not able to see the way to reach Ariya Pukala. That's why we need Sikaya. Sikaya will help you unlock your unlock the way you think from science and from logical that you have been teaching since you were kids, and also about the things that you perceive as a cause and a reason. That is another topic, which is another big topic that we talked before about cause and result. Because normal people, we assume cause and result by our 5 senses, through our eyes, our ear, our nose, our tongue, and our body. We assume cause and result from those 5 senses. But we actually have no idea about cause and result according to the teaching of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi. Because cause and result of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi, when Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi teach, go far beyond than your 5 senses. For example, like when it rains, cause and result of normal people said that there is cloud. Because of the cloud, there is rain. Or because of that it's rainy season, that's why it rains. This is cause and result. And if you ask other people, they will agree with you. This is cause and those are results. But the teaching of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi, as I mentioned, go far beyond than that, go much deeper in details than that. Cause are 6 cetasika that called cause and create result, including cloud, including rain, and not only cloud and rain. It also go into details that why cloud need to create within today or tomorrow, why rain need to rain today or tomorrow or the day next, why they rain today at this moment or not rain at this moment, which is quite complicated, another complicated topic. And cause, go back to the cause. Cause is 6 cetasika. These 6 cetasika are classified into 2 groups. The first one is kusala hetu, and another one is kusala hetu. Akusala hetu consisting of lobha cetasika, dosa cetasika, moha cetasika, and kusala hetu consisting of alobha hetu, atosa hetu, and panya. Alobha cetasika, atosa cetasika, and panya cetasika. And these 6 cetasika are hetu, and these six cetasika are working with citta, then create rupa and create kamma and create the environment and also create yourself, and these control cause and result that normal people assume by using their 5 senses. That's why when you understand the cause and result of according to the teaching of the Dwara Samma Sampoti, the effects, the understanding and the prediction of cause and results is far more precise than science. I can say that once you follow the cause and result of Anuttara Samma Sampotti's teaching, there is no exception. If this cause, the result will always be like that, 100%, without any exception, without any probability, without any risk management, and those are the knowledge of the people. Normal people will know that according to their understand cause and result. For normal people, even by science, they know that sometimes those cause doesn't create the same results. That's why they come up with the idea of probability, of risk management, things like that. But when you understand the cause and result according to the teaching of Anuttara Samma Sampoti, that is 100%. If this cause, the result must be like that, without any exception, without any probability. 100% will happen that way. That is another big story. Okay, let's skip this one. At this moment, you'll have probably picture of why the way to reach Kamma and why we need to reach them. Next one is Panyati. Well, this one is another fun topic, very interesting topic. Go back into your mind. It's quite fascinating, and I love it. Whenever we Sikhatama, we didn't go anywhere, but I normally I compare Sikhatama as our a journey, and Thamma that we Sikhaya or study is not only words, not only things that we need to recite, but these are things that really happen in our lives. But do you really know the way to start your journey? If you look back, a lot of Dhammacharya also mention about chart 0 to 100 level, and from that show you the way where to start the journey and where those journey leads you. The fun is during the way of reaching those levels. You start your journey from yourself, right? Yourself, not only your body, not only your physical body, but go much deeper than that. Go deep into your mind, the way you think, the way you communicate, the way the way you communicate with people, physically and verbally. Why I mention this? Because when we communicate, this, you can hear me. This is verbally, right? But within verbally, if you think carefully, these words come out of my body. It needs media to transfer voice from me into you. If you sit next to me, The media is only the air. Voice needs media to travel. This is physical. But verbally, you hear words, right? You hear words, my words. Now I'm talking English. If you know English, you understand me verbally. Verbally. But in order to my verbal or my words travel to your ear, it needs media. Now we are talking about the physics, talking about how voice travels from place to place. In this case, I assume that we sit next to each other, but in this case, we sit far away. It's more complicated than that. It needs media into device. Device translate into signal. Signal translate into some kind of wave of information pass through a network of fiber optic or things like that. And then it will convert from those signal into speaker of your device, and then from speaker of your device travel through media, in this case air, and then arrive at your ear. See, this is kind of the way to start the journey of Dhamma. But by thinking into details like this, I will show you that not only the way we communicate, well, you can see that there is two main components here. The first one is the word that you define one object. For example, like this one, you see, it's one object. But if you not defined it, you don't know how to call it. Right? That's come of Panyati topic for the beginners. We will explain Panyati like this. In this one, it's an object, right? If you not named it, you cannot call it. You cannot communicate with other. What is this one, right? In this case, we assign the name into it as cell phone, and this one become Sattha Panyati, and the shape that form like this we call Attha Panyati. So Attha Panyati and Sattha Panyati, these two are for the beginners. These two are just things that you agree with. We agree that this thing we'll call cell phone, and these shape of them are Attha Panyati, and the name is Sattha Panyati. And if you're looking in more details, these are the things that we agree with. There is no real characteristics within this Panyati, unless it goes through you go through another part, which is really the working function of this one. And when we talking into the teaching of Anuttara Samma Sambodhi, the thing that really happen is Abhidhamma, and these Abhidhamma containing two groups and into two main groups. The first one is Panyati, and as I mentioned, is Attha Panyati and Sattha Panyati. Attha Panyati is the name that we assign to that object, and Attha Panyati is the shape of that object. As I mentioned before, that everything that we interact with this world have the same basic building blocks, which is Avinipokarupa 8. And those Avinipokarupa 8 need to form into something. If I said this is Avinipokarupa 8, and it's also Avinipokarupa 8. Why they are different in color and why they are different in form and different in characteristics. This can fall without breaking. This can fall, but sometimes it breaks. Why characteristic is different? Why the shape is different? Why color is different? Those those are created by Cetasika. However, what I'm trying to say is that why the form like this, why it form like this, it's different form created from Atta Panyati. At the name we call them Sattha Panyati. It's for the beginnings of Panyati for the beginners. Okay. Why I mentioned about it's for the beginners, because the more we sikaya, the more deep into details we need to go. But this is the first step from the beginners to travel, to start your journey from yourself back into your mind, and go deep into what stays around you. They contain things like this that Anuttara Samma Sambuddhis mentioned about it. Now, I mentioned mostly in this side, Panyati Dhamma, Atta Panyati, and Sattha Panyati, the shape, the form, and the name that you assign to them. However, I also mentioned that these Panyati doesn't have the real characteristics inside it. But this form, this max, have some characteristics in it. How that possible if there is only things that we assume and assign a name to them? Because there's another part that working with them. Paramattha Dhamma. In these Paramattha Dhamma, they contain real characteristics that make things different, make this phone fall and breaks, and this mask fall doesn't break. This white color, this gray color, the weight is different, and these different created from Cetasika. And where are Cetasika? From this chart, you see Cetasika stays in Paramattha Dhamma, and these Paramattha Dhamma, that's why I mentioned that Panyati Dhamma is things that we assign to them. They don't have their real characteristics reside in them. However, the real characteristics reside in Paramattha Dhamma, and Paramattha Dhamma containing Citta 121, Cetasika 52, Rupa 28, and Nirvana 1. And within these Paramattha Dhamma, they have two main characteristics. One is Samanya Lakkhana 3, consisting of Anicca Lakkhana, Dukkha Lakkhana, and Anatta Lakkhana. And the second group is Visesa Lakkhana, containing of four items, which Lakkhana, Rasa, Pachupatthana, and Pathatthana. These four, these Paramattha Dhamma, these topic, they have the real characteristics with them, different from Panyati Dhamma. However, Paramattha Dhamma and Panyati Dhamma, they are under Abhidhamma. And from the teaching, the structure of the teaching of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi, 84,000 Dhammakantaka, when Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi was alive, it's divided into two groups. The first one is Vinaya, 21,000 Dhammakantaka, and the second one is Dhamma, 63,000 Dhammakantaka. And within Dhamma, 63,000 Dhammakantaka, later on, after Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi entered Nirvana, it's divided into two groups according to people who born later on don't have ability to understand Dhamma 63,000 Dhammakantaka without classified into two groups. Therefore Dhamma 63,000 Dhammakantaka need to classify it into two groups. The first one is Suttanta, 21,000 Dhammakantaka, and the second one is Abhidhamma, 42,000 Dhammakantaka. If we're talking about cause and result that I mentioned before in the class, these three groups, Vinaya 21,000 Dhammakantaka and Suttanta 21,000 Dhammakantaka, classified as the result of a cyclic of existence in 31 Bhumi. However, to know about the cause, what caused us to stay in the cyclic of existence in 31 Bhumi resides in Abhidhamma, 42,000 Dhammakantaka, and Abhidhamma 40,000 Dhammakantaka will appear only the enlightenment of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi. Without enlightenment of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi, we know nothing about this at all. And we know nothing about our objective to born as a human. But as I mentioned, this is our objective to born as a human. But mostly of the people are blocked by the Michatiti from the past. They have kusala to born as a human. However, those kusala is not strong enough, so they are blocked. The mind are blocked by Michatiti from the past. And then this life as a human or as a Manusapumi will be the last. I mentioned that it will be the last because in I believe the others Tamacharya also mentioned to you about how your body, how you interact with environment, or even in your daily lives, the information that you received and interaction with you and your environment, what they leads you to, and what kind of karma that they created, kusala karma or akusala karma. And as we discussed today, if you are not following the Buddha's teaching, only akusala karma is created. And once akusala karma is created, karma shrupa 18 created. And in the same time, akama shrupa 10 appears, right? And those phumi created by akusala karma citta. There are only four phumi that you will be able to born with those akusala karma citta 12, which are abhaya phumi 4, abhaya phumi 4, which are niraya, tirachana, beta, and asurakaya. That's why it's sadly for human, for manusa phumi, that everybody in this phumi have kusala from the past, but not only all of them have those kusala strong enough to go through michatiti that they also create from the past, and that will lead them and give them a chance to sikhaya, or chance to meet anuttara samma sampoti. I said meet anuttara samma sampoti, not physically, because we know that anuttara samma sampoti enters parinibbana. However, before enter nirvana, anuttara samma sampoti has already mentioned that yovo ananta maya dhammo ja vinayo panyato sovo mama jayena sattha. That's why you need sikhaya, because anuttara samma sampoti is dhamma 84,000 dhammakantaka. And that's why we need to sikhaya, continuously sikhaya like this. And in the end, you'll know, you understand, and you'll be able to picturize, and you will be able to travel to reach Arya Pukhala through Manusa Bhumi. And I insist that Dhamma is not only words, but there are things that really happen in your life. Are you able to identify them? What caused things in your life? What caused you to think the way you think? Are you really think that your mind don't have any structure, don't have anything working with them, don't have any working parts, don't have any components? Really? Because science cannot identify those kind of components, those parts, those parts that that's responsible for a certain function or certain way you think. However, Anuttara Samma Sampoti mention every part, every characteristics of the part that create your mind. The way you think, it's not actually you think. is the interaction of characteristic of citta, cetasika, and rupa that embedded in your body. For example, just a glimpse of the picture. When you feel hate, loathe, uncomfortable, you really think that is a normal things that people think without have any questions about what part or what component of your mind that makes you think that way. For this example, the way you think that way because the characteristics of Tosa Chitta 2 and Tojaduka Cetasika 4 that embedded in your body. And those components makes you feel and think the way you think. And everybody have them. That's why people hate, people loathe, people feel uncomfortable, people are always argue with others. That's not their mind, but they behave that way because of these components and these parts and these characteristics that embedded in their body. This is just a glimpse of the picture that why I always mention Dhamma that we Sikhaya is not only words, but the things that really happen in your life. Find them. And then once you are able to find them, you will get the challenge from them. Can you pass them? Can you control them? Can you find the part that Anuttara Samma Sambodhi mentioned, that those parts will help you contain or control or eliminate the akusala one. And that in the end, akusala one, which you think they might be the evil one, actually they are just the building blocks and the name when you Sikhaya, that those names are only the way to classify them into groups. And then when you classify them into groups, Sikhaya Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi will say which group working with which group, how they work together and how to help to make them stay together. And once they combine together the proper way according to the teaching of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi, those components will lead you to be Sotapatimmakha at the beginning. Okay, that will be all that we need to mention in our class today. Same as other latest class that I cannot cover all of my slides again. So maybe next time we talk about other slides of mine. พี่ปิงครับ do you have any questions or anything to add more for this class ครับพี่ปิง are you still here พี่ปิงครับ okay I think Ping is a bit busy today so do you have any questions if there is no question, that will be end of the class today. Sadhu krab, sadhu, 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 na vuti upani ti panta anumotami, sadhu krab.